Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright. So Kawasaki has made a couple of announcements recently to do with non-internal combustion or not entirely internal combustion engine bikes, and I want to talk about both of them because yet again I feel like some points are being missed here fundamentally. I've previously done lots of reviews on electric bikes. I love petrol bikes, I love electric bikes. I've talked about the science, and I don't mean what you heard on Facebook. I mean if you know chemistry and physics and stuff like that, then that's the sort of level of what I have gone into with this, because there's no point talking about stuff you heard. It's only stuff that's true that's important. And I have videos on that. I have a playlist now called Electric Motorcycles, which has got all the electric bikes I've reviewed and all the discussion point videos, so you can go and look at those videos and listen to what I've got to say about it, and then you can put a comment there. So there's two bikes they've talked about. One of them is a production bike and one of them is a concept bike. The production bike is the Ninja 7, which is a 450cc internal combustion engine bike, but it's also got an electric motor and a battery on board. It also has a normal clutch and gearbox, to my understanding, but you don't have control over that. The bike's doing it. The reason it needs to do that is because, as I said, it's got an electric and an internal combustion engine, so it needs to be able to blend between the two. And if you're in the wrong gear or you're doing something at the time it wants to switch, it can cause it problems. So it's got to be auto. So it's an auto 450cc Kawasaki with an electric motor. Now the idea of this and the way the bike works is the battery on board is not chargeable, so it's not an electric bike, it's a hybrid, and it charges that battery itself. So up to about 30-40 miles an hour you can ride it on electric power, and then after that it's going to automatically kick in the petrol engine and it will then be on the petrol motor and it will charge the electric batteries. You also then have a boost button, which basically is you have your 450cc petrol, but you can smack your boost button for a 5-second boost of the electric motor, giving all the whack that it's got for extra, pull for an overtake or something like that. Because at the end of the day, it's only a 450. There's plenty of cc there, but it's better to have a bit more boost. And I think it might convince some people that 450 won't be so bad if they've got that extra kick up the butt. So fundamentally, it sounds like quite an interesting idea, but to me, I have to ask the question, what is it solving? Unless it gets you around ULEZ or something like that, I don't understand why it's even a thing. Okay, it does get you a better, miles to the gallon. It gets about something like 80, 90 miles to the gallon, something like that, so that's quite impressive. But it's, again, not solving a problem because it's still got the internal combustion engine in there, and that's the thing that they say they're going to get rid of. So this is no solution for the future of our current rules, assuming the current rules are actually, done as they say they're going to be done. So what you then end up with is a £12,000 450cc hybrid bike, which has got all of the complexities and costs to maintain and run a petrol bike, with the added costs and risks of having a electric battery and motor in the bike, thus also adding to weight. And overall, I don't get it. I don't have a problem with the bike. I actually think it's quite a cool idea, and I'd like to try it out, because the whole idea of being electric around town and being quiet and, in those areas you don't have, maybe that's how you get around ULEZ, because you're electric, but I don't know the exact ULEZ rules because I don't live near any of that stuff, thankfully. And I've checked, so I have to pay for either of my bikes should I go back up to London. Obviously it means you use more miles to the gallon, which is good because it means you're using less fossil fuels. And of course some people will say, well, yeah, that saving in fossil fuels is completely annihilated by creating the motor and the battery. That's, lithium and stuff. I have a video on that. Please do watch it if you want to get into the debate about lithium, because it is not exactly as a lot of people think, but it is at the same time. And in fact, some things are worse. So, interesting concept of a bike. I'd love to get my hands on one. I know I won't, because Kawasaki don't deal with me. That's my opinion on it. It's a cool idea, but I don't get what problem it's trying to solve, other than getting more fuel or maybe getting around to emissions area things. I don't know. How do you prove you're electric in that zone? Well, I guess the speed denotes it, but what if you run out of battery? Then you've got to start the petrol engine, and then what? The other bike they've announced is a fully hydrogen internal combustion engine bike, and I've made videos talking about this, and when I saw it, I laughed, because it is the stupidest idea going. And you might say to me now, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about, why would Kawasaki be doing this, blah blah. They're researching. They really don't care if this works out in the end. They're seeing what's possible. But there are fundamental problems with hydrogen bikes that I've talked about in videos that I've previously made on hydrogen bikes, which I do hope you will watch those and see what I've got to say before trying to, like, you know, tell me I'm wrong here, because I haven't been able to take half an hour to make the case, to explain the science, not the opinion. That's the thing, is I really try to keep a fit of the actual, like, numbers, not the opinion of it. So the reason why I think this bike is a bit silly is multifaceted. Hydrogen in a small vehicle is a silly idea anyway. Did you know that hydrogen is made using electricity? So why not just put it in the main battery of an electric bike? It's less efficient because you get all the heat loss and sound loss and all that sort of stuff. People will say, yeah, but you can't refill an electric bike like you could refill a hydrogen bike. Yes, at the moment it's about half an hour for 80% charge on something with a couple of 100-mile range, so it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it used to be. The hydrogen is dealing with 10,000 psi of hydrogen, which is extremely explosive, flammable, depending on the mixtures. And you're also dealing with extremely low temperatures when you're refilling the bike. Like, those tubes are going to get minus 100 and something, if not more, because hydrogen's really cold. And then you look at the bike and you see this absolutely enormous arse on it, and you're like, what is that? Is that storage? No, that is the hydrogen tanks. Many small little 10,000 psi hydrogen tanks. Why is it so big? You know, I thought that hydrogen was better than electric because of the whole range thing, because the energy density. Yes, energy density by mass, not by volume. In fact, petrol has more energy by volume than hydrogen by 4 times. So the reason it's got this giant trunk on the back of it is because it needs that for the volume of the gas. I know some people are going to say something like, well, they can just, you know, that's a technology thing, they can work on that. No, they can't. These are physics problems. It's like me saying to you, hey, here's a pint of water, fit it into a half-pint bottle. And you're like, I can't do that. Like, well, why don't you compress it? Get it in there. Because you can't compress water. You can a little bit, but let's not get into that. And you're like, well, try. Well, I can't. It's a physics thing. It's never going to change. Exactly. And the physics of hydrogen is never going to change. So the storage of it, that's always going to be a problem. All of this is always going to be a problem. Everything I've ever said about why I don't think hydrogens are a good idea, it's always going to be a problem because it's physics, not technology. If you disagree with me on that and you want to go off on one, please do watch my video about electric vs hydrogen or one of those hydrogen ones, because I'll explain how it's made, the efficiencies and all of that, and you'll come to realise that at the end of the day the best thing we can do is stick the electricity into a battery and have that go to a motor and recharge it at a station or at home or wherever. That is the best solution, given the scenario that internal combustion for fossil fuels will not be around anymore. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I love petrol bikes. I have 2 of them. But I also enjoy electrics, and I do understand why we're going in that direction. And I think, giving all the technologies, electric's going to be the way forward for a long time. A long time. And I don't think it's going to be lithium for a long time either. They're going to change the battery chemistry, and that solves nearly all of the issues. Faster charging, more range, it's got more power. You know, look at all the time trials and the track records around the world. The past few years, electrics have eaten all of them. All of them. Like, it's insane. Yeah, top speed, electric can't beat yet, but when it comes to acceleration and getting around a track, goddamn. I am not saying they're bad bikes, and I'm not saying they haven't got a place, because all bikes got a place, and the hybrid's going to be around for what? You know, say it's around for 15, 20 years, that's the life of the bike. There's no reason not to bring it out, and it's an interesting push forward that no one else is doing. So props to Kawasaki, lend me one. I'll be honest about it, but I think fundamentally it's not the solution that people think it is, because you look at the comments on these bikes that have been up there and everyone's going, see, I told everyone hydrogen was going to be the solution, even though all the cars out there that aren't petrol diesel currently are electric and aren't hydrogen. But the point is, look how many electric cars are out there now, look how many electric bikes there are now. It's the way we're going. So, yeah, thoughts in the comments, but please do keep in mind the things that I've said. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new here. If you want to help support this channel, please consider doing that through Patreon. I would massively appreciate it. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.